ahead and call the meeting in order. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
All right. Mrs. Bloom? Here. Mrs. Spiritu? Here. Ms. Laird? Mr. Price?
Here.
Ms. Ray?
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from our regular meeting held March 14th, 2022, please? Motion by Mrs. Ray. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes, motion's approved. No walk-on items tonight?
No, sir. There are none this evening.
Chantel is out, so we don't have a legislative report.
Correct.
She's at home sick tonight. So moving on to the community. I have a first hearing of the public. However, we don't have anyone here that would like to address the board, so we can skip right on to Superintendent's report.
All right. Thank you, board, and thank you, Mr. Price. It is my pleasure this evening to introduce our guests this evening. We have with us the high school orchestra, and they're just coming off of a streak of huge successes. And I keep talking to Mrs. Hammaker about the achievements of this group and what they've done. I'd like maybe, if I could, have her sort of tell what the orchestra has accomplished and what they've done, and then they're actually going to have a piece for us. So I'll hand it over to Mrs. Hammaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us this evening. We look forward to performing for you. Recently, I had the privilege of taking this group to state orchestra contest in Perrysburg, Ohio, where they received a superior, not only from one judge or two judges, but all three judges viewed that they were superior in their performance and their playing. They were most impressed, not only with their playing, but also their behavior on stage. And I think that's a reflection of these students and how proud they are to be a part of this group. And they are so proud to be here tonight with you and privileged to be able to perform for you and the community. We've performed this piece, M to the Third Power, several times before, but never for this group, and we really look forward to it. It's about 3 minutes long, and this is one of the selections that we took to state contest. Please enjoy M to the Third Power.
Thank you so much. Before you go, board, I don't know, they won't be here at the end when we get to talk. I don't know if anybody would like to say something to our guests this evening.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yes, and sorry. Just awesome presentation, and reward to you for being such a awesome orchestra leader, and to our students. Great job. Great
Yeah,
job.
congratulations on everything. And for someone who has not a musical ounce in their body, to see what
Beautiful.
kids and other people can do musically is just amazing. So congratulations to all of you, and
Yes.
and thank you for coming in. I mean, you're dressed up, you're in your you know, I mean, to perform and everything, and it's just a school board meeting for 8 of us here in this
Yes.
room. So
Thank you.
that just goes to show the quality of the program, the quality of all the students and everything they put into it. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's top that. What do you think? Huh? Good luck.
That was,
Yeah, it's all going to be downhill from here. I can tell you that.
Pretty boring, yeah.
Yeah, right. That was awesome.
So,
I-
you
I
know,
had chills from that.
I know we're still on the live feed and stuff, and hopefully people are watching, or people will go to the website and watch it tomorrow. But, you know, schools in general can get a bad rap sometimes. But when you have a group of students who can do that, pretty amazing. And to come in, the professionalism and everything, it's just, the community needs to see what is really here sometimes, I think.
Absolutely.
yes.
So
You know what I think is so commendable too is that during all this time, they've been just thriving with no real chance to perform.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
before they played, Ms. Hammaker said they were just really dying to have an opportunity to show how good they've gotten,
Awesome.
and we gave them that tonight, which is exciting.
and considering that for 2 years,
Yeah.
you know, they weren't
Exactly.
even really together
Exactly.
because they couldn't be.
It was a mess. Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
Wonderful.
Mr. Detweiler, would you like me to continue with
Yes,
the
please.
academic
Our next,
achievement?
for our work session this evening, you know, we've been spotlighting a department. You know, we did, you know, first grade math, we did language arts, we did foreign language. So now we had taste of our music program. We're going to kind of finish up that with some history tonight from the middle school. So I'll let Mrs. Hurt kind of carry on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Price, board members, Mr. Detweiler, Mrs. Parkhurst. As Mr. Detweiler said, this evening we had a music performance, which was phenomenal, a highlight for us for sure. And also this month, I'd like to highlight some of our history. Again, this is one of those core content areas that is taught all the way from kindergarten all the way through grade 12 in a variety of different fashions of content. And there's different pieces. Our standards have changed in the last couple of years. So we have seen some shifts in social studies and history. So what has traditionally been this particular grade level has shifted somewhat. So our teachers have regrouped, and our students may have had a little bit of continuation and impact over the years, but I think that we have very solid components. So I've chosen to share with you a little bit of grades 6 through 8. So we have a couple of items that I will display there. And I just have a couple pieces that the department has shared with me, so I would like to share with you as well. So just ending Black History Month, some of our students in grade 8 completed a mosaic project And the pictures are not in any specific order. So I'm going to talk a little and I'll show you the pictures a little bit. I find it very interesting here, the use of the Play-Doh with our middle school students and what they're doing there. In front of them, they have a cryptid language for them, and they're trying to recreate that so that they are then doing that in the Play-Doh. They'll be able to show each other those pieces. So that Black History project in 8th grade, they were able to pull together creating a mosaic that included meaningful quotations, illustrations, and symbolisms of a particular person that they chose and the important facts. And there's a picture at the end that will come up to that. Also in grade 8, they wanted to share with us about a deep dive unit that will be connecting between local connections of the city of Fremont and the important components of the War of 1812. So you can see just a very wide span there, but also being able to make that very, very local. And we are very fortunate in the city of Fremont to have some very deep history aligned to the War of 1812. So I believe that the students will be venturing to Burchard Library, be able to see some of those pieces firsthand. So that's a plus. In grade 6, we have students working on an interactive and an immersive project. Here they're assuming the roles of crime scene detectives, attempting to solve a cold case murder of Otzi, who is a Bronze Age nomad mummified from over 5,000 years ago. So they set up, it's a factual component. The teacher is able to give the students some information, and then the students have to dig in and put their hands on and try to collectively come up with reason why the body, why the person died and how it was preserved. So the students are able to participate in the autopsy, per se, of the body and injuries. They study pictures of the crime scene, analyze with some scientific testing, and then try to understand the tools that would have been available at the time. And then they create like a death certificate and prove their theories. So very interactive, very interesting project with our 6th graders that they get pretty excited about. Here's a little piece of that War of 1812 and some of that connection to local history.
See old Betsy on there, didn't I?
Yes, yes. This is a little bit of that Black History Month mosaic where the students were able to pull together a variety of pieces of information around one particular person that they researched. And then they were able to share those out with all of their classmates. And our 7th grade component that Mr. Steinmetz really wanted to share with us is that the students build technological-based projects around the ancient cultures of Greece and Rome, and pull in the Renaissance period, the Middle Age period, but they do so in a structural manner that allows them to make sure that they're hitting all of their standards for 7th grade history as well. So just some pieces there to share with you, and just to highlight grades 6 through 8 for history. It's not testable content. And sometimes it gets set aside, and we talk a lot in instructional world about with reading and language arts, and we talk a lot about math. And my science and social studies teachers will all tell you that they are just as important as reading and math. And you got to hear tonight some of those key pieces that come into play. And you can see some of the shifts and some of those important components. So we've been through the Renaissance, Middle Ages, up to the War of 1812, pulling that into local history. So there's a lot of pieces happening in these 3 grade levels.
Denise, I just noticed that work is actually hanging there on the wall behind.
Oh, yes.
So we're in an 8th grade pod, so that's an example of 8th grade work right there.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Mm-hmm. Any questions regarding the history showcase?
Kind of.
Okay.
Okay. So as part of the history, you were able to bring in like forensic kinds of. Okay. That was kind of neat.
Yeah. And very, very ingenious of the teacher because too, I think, especially in today's world and some of the shows that were very popular and, in pop culture and on television, the kids have big interest to that. And so it's an interesting spin to put on a very ancient portion of history and to try to make that very relatable to our students and engaging. So yeah, it's a fun project, I think, for our teachers to teach. And I think our students respond and they have a really good time with it.
That's kind of neat.
So
right.
fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Touching on
Denise.
history and science at the same time.
Mhm.
Excuse me.
And that's the classic middle school thing via, like you said, kind of that cross
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
discipline program and units. All right. That's it for our work session tonight. As we said, we've been going through the departments, so that will continue on as we go forward in our work session meeting. So thanks very much.
Moving on to recommendations of the superintendent.
All right. Thank you. I got some comments on a few things as we get through here. And just a reminder to the board and to the community, we try not to put too much on this board meeting because we like to keep it more about kids and programs and everything else. But everything in here is we've kind of judged as time sensitive. We really would like to get it through. So with your approval, we'll continue on. So item 1 and 2, we just had a legislation passed to revise our calendars from last year and this year to reflect the federal law that just passed about Juneteenth, which affects our 11th and 12th month employees, not 9 months, so the teachers aren't a part of this, but all of our year-round or 11-month folks. That moved into a paid holiday status, so we need to reflect that on our calendars for June 19th. So that's item 1 and 2. If I could have your approval on those, please.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve items 1 and 2, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Espiritu. Can I have a second? Second by Mrs. Ray. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you very much. Moving on with staff matters, I've got a few things to do this evening. Accept the resignation of Tina Orndorff as FMS custodial. In item 4, I've got a couple more certified staff substitutes, both A and B. Item 5, our supplemental contracts. We're going to get Mr. Shear on as our head golf coach for the boys. Continuing on, item 6 continues on. The first one there is William LeGroux. He's being approved tonight with your blessing as a volunteer for our assistant tennis coach for the boys. Then item 7, some more supplemental duties. This is into the 22-23 school year. We have Severa Ramirez as soccer coach for the girls. And on the next page, we continue on with item 8, the 2 Beardmores as bus chaperones, if we could get you to approve them as volunteers. And then item 9, we've got a couple universities that have student teachers, and there's a small stipend for staff members who cooperate with student teachers. So those are listed there. That first one, item 9, is for Lourdes University, and item 10 is for Heidelberg. And Teresa Wright is actually twice because she has 2. So she's has 2 student teachers, so that's why that's double. Item 11 is a change of status for Alicia Crowell, and item 12 is your approval of an unpaid leave of absence for Linda Doring. Those are our personnel items for this evening.
Can I get a motion to approve items 3 through 12, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Espiritu. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you very much, board. Item 13 through 18, if you kind of scan those are our interventions. You know, we received ESSER monies towards trying to get kids caught up, and we did a whole full summer program last year. We learned a few things. We've changed the calendar a little bit. We slid some things around, kind of changed the focus a little bit, but we are once again offering something for every student in Fremont City Schools for summer intervention. We're hoping that parents will take advantage of that. Sometimes the ones you want don't come, but we still have to make that offering and try to convince people to take advantage of it if they can. So item 13 is our K through 3 program. That will be at Lutz. We're not sure yet.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. And I apologize. We're got to get this approved. Then we'll start fleshing out all the details about staffing and directors and locations and all that. So this will get the ball rolling. Item 14 is the 4th and 5th grade. 15 is the middle school age. Then we have really 3 high school options. We have a classroom to career summer program, credit recovery as item 17, And item 18 is a summer intervention for the state testing. So that's sort of in a nutshell. And I wouldn't have, it's not, it's urgent in the sense that we have lots of work to do. Like we just said, we got to get, people be in charge of it, then hire the teachers and get everything lined up. So that's why I moved it onto this agenda. With your approval, we can get started on that. So if I could have a motion for those, please.
Can I have a motion for to approve items 13 through 18, please? Motion by Mrs. Ray. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Spiritu. Any discussion?
If I may, Mr. Price, just a commendation for Mrs. Hurt. This is all happening in the middle of testing, which is ground zero in our world, baby. So there's a lot going on. You walk by Denise's office and there's smoke rolling out of her office most days because it's crunch time. But there's a lot of work to do, and I just appreciate all the work that she's done to make all this happen. So.
One thing I would say is I would hope for any parents that are listening or would get the information, take advantage of these summer programs.
That's right.
Man, if your kid is struggling a little bit, or if you think they're a little behind, what a perfect opportunity. I understand it's summertime and sometimes it's hard to kind of fit in that schedule. But I think the school district makes it very accommodating. Is there busing transportation again?
I don't think for some.
There'll be transportation for some.
Yeah.
So, I mean, check out the opportunities, all that you can, get that information. It's not out yet, obviously, but when that time comes, take advantage of what's there free for you for the summer.
Yeah.
So,
So 16, 17, and 18, they're a shoo-in, or was there options? I kind of didn't get that at the beginning when you said.
I'm sorry, what's your question, Ms. Ray?
Okay, for for the high school, for those three programs, are those all three being offered, or are
Yes.
there choice? Okay.
Yes, these would be 3 different pathways that a high
Okay.
school student could get some help. That's right.
Okay.
Yep. And you would, like, for example, number 17 is credit recovery. That would be specific for those students who have maybe failed
Yes.
English 10 and need to try to get that credit recovered. So,
I thought you said maybe there were options or something. I kind
yeah,
of
no,
misunderstood
those are
you at the
all
beginning.
3 for Ross students.
Okay.
Yeah. And depending on the need.
all right. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to fiscal matters, report of the treasurer.
Good evening. Tonight I have 2 items for the board's approval. We have the financials. The biggest thing with our financials right now is that real estate kind of collections or disbursements hit kind of at a interesting time. So we have part of our real estate money has come in, but not all of it. So we'll have a better look at the month of March. We'll have all of the real estate collection done, and then we can get a really good idea of how we've done compared to last year. Right now, we're kind of sitting in the middle. We don't have a good comparison from last year to this year to see how real estate collections have done. Again, the Fair School Funding Act has made it so you can't really get a good comparison for the state revenues. Pushes one up and pulls the other down. So the revenue's down from the state, but the expenses are also down from the state. So that's always a good thing. But those are the financials for this month. And then we also have a supplemental appropriation on there for the K-12 prevention grant.
Can I get a motion to approve items 19 and 20, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Espiritu. Any discussion on those? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved. All right. Boy, we are blistering. This is not.
It's still daylight.
Not that
Talk
we
slowly.
don't-
Talk
Not that
slowly.
we don't want to do this, but if anyone in the public would like to come in sometime for these meetings to help us out with some content,
You guys are
that'd
going
be
to get
great.
soft if we get out of here, right?
All right. Moving on to board member communications and information. Mrs. Bloom.
Well, that was really awesome to have them in here and to listen to them. I have never gone to one of their concerts. My kids didn't make it past maybe a couple of grades in grade school, and it sounded like they were strangling cats in the other room. It was bad. I begged them to quit playing the violin. But one went on to do piano, and she did that from kindergarten all the way through like 5th grade because I wouldn't let her quit, and I told her she had to tell the teacher, and she wouldn't tell him. But that was, I mean, if I had a kid that did that, that would be awesome. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Mrs. Espiritu?
Yeah, just once again, the orchestra was beautiful. Like just, all their hard work, and it shows. And just congratulations to them for going to Perrysburg and getting all those good comments, and just very proud of them. Just they were professionals.
They were.
Yes. Very good.
I'd hang out with those kids anytime.
Yes.
It was amazing.
And then I would like to thank Denise for her presentations for the history, and it's nice to see what's going on in the schools and the different grade levels. So thank you.
Mrs. Ray?
Well, I'm in agreement. The performance was just exceptional. I can see how they got such high ranking in their state. So making Ross look good.
Yep.
And so proud of them, and appreciate all the hard work that has gone into bringing this to fruition. It was really interesting seeing how the depth of what our 6th grade students are learning and what they're doing, and this is real stuff, where everything now is, the kind of on the forensic side. And that was, I thought that was so interesting to bring that into play. As DNA goes back, thousands and thousands of years, that our students had a chance to really work with that kind of information. And so, just we're almost here, winding down, and things are looking still pretty good. And just thank all the staff and all of the administration for just keeping us afloat. And finally, things seem to be evening out a little, maybe. Okay, so that's pretty neat. And I guess that's all.
All right. Well, thank you again, and congratulations to the orchestra for coming in and playing for us. Great job.
Yes.
Denise for the report
Yes.
on history. When I was in junior high in history, we did not do crime scene investigating. I can remember carrying around books, and the history book was always the thickest and the heaviest. And it was just a bunch of words, and you sat in history class and you read a textbook, and that was about it.
That was neat.
So nice job on the staff to bring it up to date and have all those different things in there to keep the students engaged on that. John, one quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
In your update last week, you had talked about state report card, a meeting with state report card.
Yes.
Just a little quick synopsis of that.
Well, it was, like I said, is an hour of mind-numbing statistics. And it basically, OD they're doing area webinars to try to get everybody up to speed on the new calculations. We went from a lettered grade, for the whole district to 5 stars. So now you can get a 5-star rating or a 4-star rating or a 3-star rating.
Okay.
And then those ratings will be applied to very similar areas, the graduation rate and achievement and gap closing. Some of those things are the same. Some have been tweaked and changed. So it was really just a presentation on kind of the new legislation. It's all been, changed in law. So, and how that law was impacted the reporting of our district report card. I guess the unfortunate part, and I know I could, curse the wind, but it's so complicated that it honestly, it was an hour, and I had to listen very carefully, and this is my world, and I didn't understand a lot of it. So the idea of having to explain that to our community just seems like we just went the wrong direction yet again, in my opinion, that things are just so complicated that I don't know how useful it all will be. And we spend so much time trying to address all those things, and then not to have a real instrument that we could really show our community how we're doing, in my opinion. That, and I'm sure a statistician would say, oh, no, it's all here. But it's all there, but it's really something, and all the cut scores and the percentages and it's not all just straight reporting. There's, this is, out of 36 and this is out of 15 and that's out of, so it's just, it's a very complicated system, in my opinion. So that was that. We'll get through it. We'll do the best we can. And like I've always said, I think in a lot of ways they've perfected a means to line up the districts by poverty. I mean, it's almost like what it's really
sure.
good at,
Right.
which is unfortunate, but seems
Right.
to be the case.
It never fails, whether it's public school funding or the report card. They just keep adding and adding and adding. And they keep saying, we need to fix it. We need to fix it. It's broken. We need to fix it. Yet they just keep adding to it instead of taking, it's this, in business school, we always learn the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
It's really easy. Drop some of that stuff down and make it easier. When a statistician has to explain it to you, something's wrong when we're talking about how a school district is doing or how a school district is funded, through tax dollars. It shouldn't take that. But
along the same lines, I had a chance to talk to one of our legislators, and I said, I've been at this for 30 years, and for 30 years, we've been being fixed. Public schools are being fixed by the legislature. When do they get to own it if we're still broken, right? Right?
Because
who owns the mess now?
They set the rules that we have to follow, yet they're saying that we're broken.
Exactly. And have been fixing us for decades.
Then it has to go back to who set the rules. If we're following your rules, then the rules are broken.
Yeah.
Because everybody has to follow it. Otherwise, we don't get funded.
That's right.
So it's a pretty simple concept, but heaven forbid someone take the blame for it.
Yeah.
Hey, it was our fault. Sorry.
Right.
We'll never hear that out of Columbus. So, But anyway, all right. Last thing we wanted to kind of put out there for the public more than anything is, as a district, we did this, was it 4 years ago?
Yeah.
5 years ago?
4 probably.
We take a look at like any other business, we have a mission statement, a vision statement. We kind of take a look at that and realign that a little bit for what we're doing, how the world is. Obviously a mission statement shouldn't be the same as what it was 40 years ago. So we think it's a good idea to keep updating that. So I got to be a part of that one 4 years ago. We're looking at that again now. Obviously the last 2 years have changed a lot of things. So this is going to be an ongoing thing. We wanted to give the public kind of a first glance at kind of what we came up with as a board. We had a meeting with all of us here, plus Denise, and kind of came up with some basic ideas. John said that the district leadership team is going to be having a meeting and start looking at these things. We kind of look at it from the 20,000 foot level as a board, and then it's them that take it down lower and lower and lower, and finally to the buildings to meet the goals with our mission statement and vision statement. So just a quick thing for the public. A mission statement, what we have right now is, we are committed to a culture of collaborative achievement, creating high-performing individuals engaging successfully in a modern world. And then for the vision statement, develop individuals who will thrive as they find their place in their local and global community. And then we also came up with 3 core concepts or components. It seemed like every time we were talking in that meeting, there were 3 things, and Denise was kind of heading up the meeting and helping us keep everything organized, because we're just tossing stuff out at her. So she was great at organizing it. But everything kept coming back to these 3 things. So these 3 core components are: we educate students, we support and develop staff, and we serve the community. And we just really feel like that everything was geared. Those 3 words, student, staff, and community, came up all the time. And Denise did a great job of pointing that out to us. Like, look, guys, look what this is. It keeps hitting these same things. So anyway, that's first glance at those things. It's going to be something ongoing for the next few months. This summer probably will be rolling that out. Not that it changes anything big. It's just, but what is out there for the public to see on our website, on any of our handbooks, all that kind of stuff, that would be on there. So we definitely want to show that as a district, where we're heading and what our goals are. So if there is nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session under letter B and letter K. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Espiritu. Just real quick, not that we're going to have discussion about it, but there will not be any more
Action.
business taken after this executive session. So we're going to go into executive session, come out of executive session, and we'll adjourn. There won't be any other action taken by the board. So with that, could I have a roll call, please, for the executive session?
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray.
Yes.
All right, motion carried. We will be moving into executive session.